I'm pleased to share my story about God's great forgiveness and faithfulness in my life. My name's Diann Johnston, and I was brought up in a loving, church-going family. I really absolutely looked forward to Sundays and going to Sunday school and hearing the marvellous stories about Jesus, his miracles, and his love for all his little children. And I have very fond memories of praying beside my bedside with my dad. And I really am so grateful for the security and love that I had at the start of my life. When I was 11, I decided to leave Sunday school and joined a house group called Crusaders. Here we studied the Bible very intently, and I was really full of all the stories, wanted to know more and more about what Jesus had done on his time on earth. We also learned a lot about missionaries, and there was some consideration in my heart that maybe someday I would be a missionary. And my mother often said she could hear me humming hymns in my bedroom, not like a normal teenager, but humming away, and she thought, well, maybe someday she will. However, we moved house, and at the age of 13, we joined another church, McCracken Memorial. I went there, and very often the minister would come and ask me, please Dan, come to our teenage sessions in the afternoon. But I said, no, I'm sticking with Crusaders. That meant a journey of 2 buses for me every Sunday afternoon, one into the city and one up to the north of the city. But it was through Crusaders that I came to give my life to Jesus at the age of 13. And that was just the most wonderful, wonderful feeling. I felt so special. But I didn't really share it with many of my other teenage friends at school and whatnot. Only when I went on a Sunday was I able to totally relax and share it with those people. However, time went on, and when Brian and I got married, we both knew that we had attended church, that we prayed to God regularly, and we brought our children up praying to God. However, with moving so many times with work, because of work really, we never really joined a church for many years. Our children went to Sunday school, they went to Cubs and Brownies. We thought we were doing all the right things for them. Then we moved to Scotland, and that was a big upheaval for all of us. Our children were teenagers, they didn't want to go and meet new people, and we easily gave in to them. We attended carol services, different things. I began to get involved in charities, and thought, well, I'm doing good for God. He'll be pleased at what I'm doing. How wrong later on I came to realise that was. I returned to Northern Ireland 20 years after living in Scotland. I returned now with Brian, without our adult children, to a new place, a new home, and really I knew no one in the area. But my mother and father lived here, and they were getting on in years. I became very, very lonely, really quite low, and very low emotionally. I didn't know what the future held for me. Everything was very strange to me. However, I talked with my brother and sister-in-law, and they gave me the UCB word for today. Oh, how wonderful that was. Every morning, I went to the relevant date, I got out my Bible, I read the little chosen sentences and verses that they suggested I should read. And I got a real feeling of having God back in my life. Brian and I discussed this, and the lovely thing again that happened on my birthday, my brother and sister-in-law gave me a life's study Bible, life application study Bible. That gives you 2 halves of the one verse. A modern day version that's maybe easily read, especially for the Old Testament, and the new version. And slowly but surely, Brian and I talked more and more about our lives and how really we'd strayed, and we really did need to get back, get involved in a church and really feel that joy that God had given us in our youth. It was really through an acquaintance. I met this acquaintance. She said to me, Dan, would you consider an Alpha course? Would you come with me? I thought, gosh, she doesn't know I don't belong to a church. How could I suddenly go to an Alpha course? And I just replied, well, I'll think about it. Within the same week, a friend I'd met said, do you know, someone's approached me about an Alpha course. I said, oh good, are you going to go? She said, I'm thinking about it. I said, well, what if I collected you? Would you go with me? And we went together. That opened up my heart and my life. It was just unbelievable. I came home and I talked with Brian, I talked with my children on the phone. They all thought, well, what's Mum getting into here? But it was just what I'd been looking for. At my weakest moment, God had placed these people in front of me to attract me back to Him. Then one day we were walking past Shore Street. A guy jumped out of a four-wheel and he shouted, hiya. And we responded, we said, hello. Brian said, you know, that's the minister of Shore Street. I said, well, let's give it a try. Well, that first Sunday we went was just quite amazing. We kept nudging each other and saying, isn't this good? Isn't this great? Do you like it too? We really found a friendship of a family, a church family there. They didn't ask questions, where have you been? We don't know who you are, but gradually we got to know them. Then there was an Alive to God course being offered. And along I went, and I sat in a little group with 5 or 6 other people, and many of us expressed our fears, our doubts about how could we approach God? Would He forgive us? Would He really have that mercy to forgive us? And I talked with Frank Beattie, who's a minister here at Shore Street. And Frank said, but did you say you were saved? I said, oh Frank, yes. The joy of a child when I was saved was wonderful, and I would want that back. And he said, well, you can get it back. And Frank handed me a little piece of paper, and it was Jeremiah 29, verse 13. You will seek me and find me. When you seek me with all your heart, I will be found by you, says the Lord. And this was another concrete step in my steps towards finding God and Christ in my life again. Then there was a week of prayer here at Shore Street, and Bran and I signed up for a half-hour slot in privacy by ourselves. In the corner of the room was a cross, and after saying a prayer I was drawn to that cross, and I walked over to the cross, and with tears in my eyes I asked God to forgive me. And the joy, the relief that I felt was tremendous. And I still feel it to this day. And if I could share that with someone and let them feel that joy in their lives, I hope through this short video it will touch your heart. Because God is always there. He's always loved us through whatever we've done, whenever we've strayed, but He's there for the time when you want to come back. And I'm just so glad that I've come back. I have a journey. I want to serve Him more. I want to study the Bible. I want to meet with Christians. I want them to be around me and me around them. But I do want, if I can, just to move that little step forward and help those who feel maybe they can't be forgiven, because God really did forgive me. And I thank Him so much for what He's done in my life. Thank you.